to this high school football preview show special, the MIAA Super Bowl recap. Night one, I'm your host, John Sick Voice Sarianidis, and I'm joined by my partners, as usual, the great Adam Kirchen. There he is right there. And Tyler Amaral, who is now joining us, and there he is right there. Gentlemen, great to see you guys as always. Always a fun week here. Great to be able to work with you guys here throughout the week during Super Bowl week in Massachusetts. And we had two games tonight, of course. We kick things off at 5:30 with the Division 7 Super Bowl, which featured Uxbridge versus Mashpee. Uxbridge won that one 42-20. And then the nightcap, the Division 6 Super Bowl, was Hudson versus Fairhaven. Hudson wins their first Super Bowl since 1991 with a 21-14 win. Now, let's start with the Division 7 matchup, Uxbridge and Mashpee. Coming into the game, I think we all thought, hold on, well, you know what? Hey, we're making a quick adjustment. Adam Kirchen is joining me here. We're going to split screen this somehow.
Yeah, my computer crapped out on me. So.
All right. Can you see us? All right. I'll end up disappearing from this, but yeah, let's hold on. Sorry for the technical difficulties, folks. There we go. All right. We are good. Okay. So, as I said, first matchup, of course, was Uxbridge and Fairhaven. Uxbridge and Mashpee. Uxbridge wins at 42-20. And the story of the game, Caden LaChapelle. I mean, the junior running back for Uxbridge, he was a dude throughout the night. Unbelievable performance, Adam. There's not enough you could say about him.
Yeah, I mean, he really lived up to expectations. He's a great running back. He's shifty. He runs with power. He's not a big back, but he runs so well that he's hard to bring down. I mean, I wonder how many tackles he must have broke out there. It was a lot. And, he had a great game. And Mashpee, I thought, contained him early on and did a good job with him. It's just, the other thing about Uxbridge with LaChapelle is they move him around a lot. They put him sort of out wide. They give him jet sweeps. They run him inside, outside. So it becomes a difficult task to really take him out of the game. And I don't think they were really able to do it in the second half. And Uxbridge really pulled away there at the end.
Yeah, I thought that game kind of played out how I thought it would, honestly. Mashpee was able to hang tough for a while, and then Uxbridge kind of had some back-breaking plays there in the final 4 minutes. Ben Squasha scored, made it an 8-point game, and then LaChapelle next play, 65-yard touchdown. He totaled 260 yards from scrimmage in the game and 2 touchdowns. I thought a big storyline in this one was quarterback Rogan Devlin. Big shoes to fill for the graduated Kellen LaChapelle. He jumped right in there this year, led them to a second straight undefeated season. They've won 2 titles in a row, 27 straight games. I think they are, Uxbridge and West Boylston are probably the 2 premier small school programs in the state right now. But Rogan Devlin, I thought, was outstanding today, throwing and running. He accounted for 4 touchdowns, 2 of each. So he was sort of the difference maker in addition to the defense coming up with takeaways. They won the turnover battle in this one 3-1. I think that was important.
Yeah, and I think early on, Mashpee was able to hang in there. They were able to keep it close. At one point, it was a 28-20 game. You thought that they might have a shot. But that Uxbridge skill group, to your point, Tyler, they're so good, so explosive. LaChapelle can change the complexion of a game on one play. He did that in this game. And again, the scary thing is he's a junior. He's back next year. We always like to do this time of year. We like to look ahead as to who are some of the teams to watch in 2025. This will be a team to watch. I think you're spot on. They're one of the premier programs, not only in Central Mass, but you can make the argument they're one of the premier programs in the state, Adam.
Yeah, and I think if you look at some of these Central Mass small school programs really, do a great job. I mean, you had back years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago, St. Bernard's had back-to-back championships. West Boylston's going for 3, and now with Uxbridge having 2 in a row as well. So it's Uxbridge certainly will be in the mix next year, and again they'll be knocking on the door for 3 straight state titles. How often do you see that? Not very.
Yeah, and in Division 7, a division that they have dominated for the last few years, as Tyler mentioned, they have won 27 in a row. It's hard to imagine that they're not going to be the favorite again in D7, especially with La Chapelle back. One thing we can say about high school football is one guy can make that much of an impact. He's that guy. He can make that much of an impact. Quick thoughts on Mashpee. Really good season from Matt Treveri's squad. They got back to Gillette. It had been a while for them. Just some thoughts on them, starting with Tyler.
Yeah, I think this was probably the most surprising of their trips to Gillette. This is their 5th time here since 2011. I think most times we knew what to expect in the preseason. This team, we weren't as sure. We didn't know really what to expect. But it turns out they had a really good senior class, and they were playing for a bigger purpose. I mentioned this on the show last night. Nolan Barr, unfortunately, passed away in the offseason in a car accident in June, and that senior class was all really tight-knit and rallied around that throughout the season. They had great playmakers, Matty Odo at quarterback, Squarsha at running back, Logan Wills. All these guys stepped up here today. They just didn't quite have the depth to be able to hang with Uxbridge, but I think this is honestly one of Coach Matt Treveri's best jobs.
Yeah, I agree. Treveri did a great job. His son had a great year at receiver, Ryan. Dominic Mattiato at quarterback had a tremendous night tonight and probably threw more than he usually does. But he was, he did a great job. Ben Squarsha at running back, Logan Wills at running back. You're talking about a very accomplished senior class. And again, next year it's going to be tough for them because, I don't think they'll have a ton of numbers next year. But Matt Treveri gets the most out of any team he coaches, and he'll be right back in it.
Yeah, and again, you are watching the MIAA Super Bowl recap show, Night 1. I'm your host, John Serenitas. As always, I'm joined by Adam Kirchin and Tyler Emerald. We are brought to you by goldathletics.com. Visit goldathletics.com today for more information on all your fundraising needs. We had some technical difficulties here with Adam's computer, so unfortunately, we're doing the bosom buddy thing on this screen. Emerald is on the red level next door. I sound like absolute dog crap, but it is what it is. It's about delivering content and bringing you guys some of the best high school football coverage in New England. So we're committed to doing that, even though I sound like Kirkshin's choking me out right now. D6 Super Bowl, going in, and I said this to you guys last night, I thought that could potentially be the best game of the week. And it was a really good game. I'm not sure it lived up to the hype. Hudson wins 21-14. To me, the big story in this one, and I think you guys will agree, is Justin Marks, the all-state running back for Fairhaven, gets hurt early, leaves the game, doesn't come back. Kind of a tough finish to a great high school career. Of course, he's the all-time leader in rushing touchdowns in state history. But let's start with some overall thoughts on the game, and then we'll get into Marks. Adam, I'm going to start with you.
I thought Jake Attaway did an unbelievable job as the quarterback for Hudson, but I think it was a solid effort all around. It wasn't just Attaway and everybody else. I thought their offensive line was spectacular. It's an athletic group. It's a big line, but it's not so big that they're not also athletic. I thought these guys could really get to the second level and really block it. I thought, Hudson played that option offense as well as anybody I can remember. To only hold Fairhaven to 14 points, I think was a real accomplishment for Hudson. And then you look back at this season for Hudson. I mean, they had a great season. They really blew out most of the teams they played. Tonight was a competitive game, but they looked fine in it. I just thought Hudson was really impressive, and I was, again, Attaway just can do so much. Running the ball, throwing the ball, leading his team. I mean, you saw him come out briefly, but he got right back in the game and played outstanding. So congratulations to Hudson. They're definitely a top 10, top 15 type team in the state. And I was impressed with what I saw from them.
Yeah, it was impressive. And of course, Marks is the key storyline there. Really unfortunate ending to his career. A legendary career. And then, this game too, Attaway got helped off the field in the first half. It looked like he'd be the player that wouldn't return in this one. And if this wasn't a Super Bowl game, I'm not sure he would have returned. He was clearly hobbled throughout the game. Didn't matter. He made plays when it happened, but he was limping back and forth, from getting the plays from his father back to the huddle. Very noticeable limp. So, a lot of grit went into this game today, and Jake Attaway, record-setting quarterback, but I think the grittiness really speaks to him as a player. And what else can you say about this Hudson team? They were knocking on the door the last few years. They finally broke through this year for the first time in 30 plus years. So it's really turned into a great program. They had an unbelievable senior class. What can you say about Logan Dome? Gets in there first varsity action of the year, and he throws a touchdown to Xavier Newton-Clark. So he did what he had to do in that one rep, and I think that kind of speaks to what Coach Attaway has built as well, as he has all of his guys ready. And it was just I think it lived up to the hype. Like Fairhaven had that last chance there. They didn't cross midfield, but they had one last opportunity with a couple minutes left, a couple timeouts, down by one score. Now, obviously, Marks didn't play, but they had an opportunity there to come down and tie the game or take the lead. And that's really all you can ask for when you're taking in these games.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting is that you mentioned Logan Dome. He comes in, he throws that fade ball for the touchdown pass. And I had a similar moment coaching here in 2017 with KP Brendan Lyden. Our quarterback goes down. Robert Jarris comes in, our backup, about the same size as Logan Dome, maybe even smaller. He hits Thomas Mann on a big fade ball. We score, take the lead, end up winning 10-7. So it's one of those things where a lot of magical moments happen here. I don't want to, be dramatic about it, but it's a pretty cool moment. The kid's a sophomore, comes in a clutch situation. When Attaway goes down and he throws a touchdown pass, I mean, he'll remember that for the rest of his life. And certainly it'll go down in Hudson football lore as a play that people will remember for the rest of their lives. As far as where do these two programs go from here, first of all, just some thoughts on Fairhaven. Unbelievable run here the last 2 years for Derek Almeida's squad. Where do they go from here? This was a big senior class. They graduated a lot.
Yeah, I think that senior class is one of the most accomplished, if not the most accomplished, in Fairhaven football history. So I think I don't think they'll necessarily make it back here next year, but I think they're going to be building and rebuilding this roster and trying to get guys experience. They had a lot of seniors. This was not a young team at all. But I do think Fairhaven, I think Almeida's a great coach, and he'll have them, back and being competitive for sure.
Yeah, Coach Almeida is a great coach, and that's the offensive scheme that they run, the triple option, is nearly impossible to prepare for. So I think that the scheme alone and the coaching alone is going to have them in the mix every year. Maybe not to this level, but I think they're going to be a competitive, respectable team every year. Look for guys like Aaron Legou, who had a big game today. He's a junior. Look for him to kind of take that next step next year and be the lead back for this Fairhaven team. Hudson's, as part of the realignment, Hudson's moving up to Division 5. They're losing more than Fairhaven is. They're losing a ton. But some nice players. You saw like Toby Eady today ran well for them. He's a guy that's returning. So I think I think they're going to be able to sustain this. Maybe not, again, to this level, but I think they're going to be a consistent playoff threat, even though they're moving up a division.
Yeah, to your point, realignment's going to change a lot of these programs now, especially because, like, for example, you mentioned Hudson, they're moving up to 5. Foxborough, who's playing in the D5 Super Bowl on Friday, they're moving up to 4. Milton is moving up to D2. So, and then you're going to have programs coming down to D2. So D2 will be a wagon again next year. CM is moving up from 3 to 2. So there'll be a lot of movement in that regard, which brings me to tomorrow night's before we wrap up here. Of course, you got 3. Situate Duxbury kicks everything off at 3 p.m. in the D4 state title game. And then at 5:30, you have the Division 1 state title game, Needham and Zavarian. And, of course, the nightcap is the D2 state title game, CM versus KP. Just some thoughts on those games, and I think people would prefer not to listen to me talk. They want to listen to you guys talk.
Well, I think they're all 3 great games, and there's a ton of intrigue. I don't know if they'll all be close games, but I feel like Situate has been waiting to get another shot at Duxbury. And I think Situate maybe comes in as the favorite there, even though Duxbury played a tough schedule and had a great year. Needham, I think in some circles, Needham might really be the favorite tomorrow against Xaverian. And, KP, King Philip against Catholic Memorial, what a great rivalry that has developed over the years with these two programs. I mean, you're talking about two top 3, top 5 programs in the state right now, and they're numbers 1 and 2 in most of the polls. So I think it's going to be an outstanding day. Get here early and stay late.
You really couldn't ask for a better day than what we're going to get tomorrow. We get the rubber match of Situate Duxbury. They played in 2021. Situate won last year. Duxbury won in a blowout. I talked to Lawson Foley, one of Situate's captains, one of Situate's best players. I talked to him after they beat Grafton in the state semifinals. He told me that they have a senior group chat, and pinned at the top of that senior group chat is the score 62-33. That was the score last year. Duxbury beat them by 29 points, most points ever scored in a Super Bowl. Clearly a chip on your shoulder. You don't need any added motivation for a Super Bowl game, but Situate does have that here as they're looking to avenge that loss to Duxbury. So that should be a really fun game. I think Situate is the favorite. Needham and Xaverian, if you like physical football, that's the game to go to. Aiden Williams, outstanding player. Vincent Busa, outstanding player. Both teams are big. Both teams are physical. I think that could be a low-scoring game and a really competitive one. And then that nightcap, we've talked about this one a few times now. Third time in 4 years that these teams are meeting as well. Can KP stop Mekhi Dodd? I think that's really what it boils down to. Mekhi Dodd is that good. The Boston College commit. Can King Phillips somehow contain him and keep that game close in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, all big storylines heading into tomorrow, which should be a great day of football. And as always, New England Football Journal will have you covered from start to finish. We'll have full coverage of all 3 games, updates throughout the afternoon, videos and stories after each game. And of course, you can join the 3 of us tomorrow night. We'll break it down for you real quick. Same thing as here. We'll do about 15, 20 minutes, give you our thoughts on the 3 games, and then we'll look ahead to the 3 final games on Friday. And of course, Friday you have the D8 Super Bowl, you have the D5 Super Bowl, and then you have the D3 Super Bowl to wrap it all up. Right, that'll do it for this MIAA Super Bowl recap, night 1. For Adam Kirch and Tyler Amaral, I'm John Squeaky Sarianides. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.